So today is on a weekend. There's nothing much going on in the forex market right now. Actually, the forex market is closed right now. But I want us to look at different pairs and see how they've been behaving, and probably what we might be expecting the market to be doing when the market opens on Monday again. So, I did the market analysis a few days ago on this NASDAQ. Then I showed you guys that I was expecting at this point this market to be giving us this kind of structures at this point. So it gave us this bullish flag at this point, and you see this market broke above this bullish flag and pushed up a little bit. So I want us to look at a few pairs and see the past analysis that we did do. This video today is kind of different because from the previous videos that I normally do, I only look at gold because I love only trading the gold market. But for today, I want us to look at different pairs like the NASDAQ. We look at GBPUSD, we look at the EURUSD. Then again, we look at gold and probably see how it has been behaving through the course of this week. So as you can see right now, this NASDAQ has been on an uptrend. And normally, guys, before I do my analysis, I always go to the bigger time frames whereby I normally understand what the market is doing. I saw someone in the comment section asking me how the 1 year time frame is crucial to day traders. As a trader, you normally want to understand what the market is doing from the bigger perspective before coming down to the smaller time frames to try to look for your entry. Like at this point, let's say if I'm a day trader at this point, I say that I'm starting my analysis from the weekly or the yearly time frame. It doesn't mean that I'm going to take my entry from the yearly or the monthly time frame. The reason that I have to go to the bigger time frames, at least to understand the concept of the market, is at least if I look at the market from the bigger perspective, at least I'll know what's the general direction of the market. Then after that, I'll go down to the smaller time frames like the daily time frame, 4-hour time frame, and 1 hour time frame, and try to look for my entries there. Which means I'll have a clear understanding of what the market is doing at that particular moment. So right now I'm on I'm on NAS 100. This is the weekly time frame, and as you can already see, this market has been on an uptrend all the way from I think last year January, from last year January 23, all the way from last year January 23. The market gave us this reversal pattern down here. We had this double bottom at this point. Then we saw the market pushing to the upwards, giving us this impulse correction, correction. Then we had an impulse correction. So right now again we are on an impulse phase. So which means this market has been on an uptrend all the way from 2023 up to this point right now. So, and again, if you look at this market at this point, we've seen that it's giving us these higher highs and higher lows, symbolizing that, showing us that the market is still pushing to the upwards. But right now, again, as you can look at this market from this immediate area that we have at this point. So if we look at this market from this area at this point, we see that this market is on a strong resistance zone, because you see this trend line that we have at this point is a resistance trend line. And you see this market is rejecting around this area, which means it's an area of interest for us, because you see, for a market to start rejecting around that area, which means that area is a significant area for us. So you see, this week the market has been rejecting around this area. It has been generally on an uptrend, but right now what we're looking at this market at this point, it's rejecting around this area, and that means only one thing. That means that the market is giving us a correction after giving us this impulse move that we had from this point all the way from down here. So another thing, we'll go to the daily time frame again and try to see that correction that we're having from that impulse move the market is giving us. And also, don't worry about these lines that I have. These are the key areas that I have been looking for from all the time frames, from the bigger time frames, that's the yearly, all the way to the 1 hour time frame. So that's why I have them at this point. And again, I did a video from my previous videos. I did a video explaining how to identify key areas in any pair in the forex market, guys. So as you can see at this point, I've told you that this is a resistance zone that we have at this point, and you see how the market was approaching this area. You see, this market was approaching this area with this impulse correction. Then we had an impulse. then we had this impulse, we had a correction again, we had an impulse. So what is happening at this point? The market is probably giving us a correction before it continues pushing to the upwards, if it does continue pushing to the upward. But because as we can see right now, still the market is on an uptrend. And again, I want to show you the channel that this market is respecting. From the weekly time frame, we'll go and try to clone this trend line and have it down there. At least we see the channel that we should be expecting this market to be respecting probably in the course of these coming weeks and months. So if I just clone this and put it down here, you see, if I put it down here, you see we have this resistance zone down here, whereby you see this market has been respecting this kind of stuff. So probably as long as the market is within this range from the weekly time frame, as long as the market is within this range, which means that this market will be respecting these trend lines at this point. So I'll just delete them because we don't need them. So the only probability, probably the only time that we can say that we can go in for maybe sell entries is if we see this market breaking up out below this area. Then after that, now we can say that probably we can go in for maybe long-term sales in the market. But at the moment right now, as long as the market is at this point, which means if we take sales, these I will be taking sales in a correction, because what is happening is just a correction. So which means if you want to take advantage of this, you can day trade. And day trading, you can find a few day trading entries and maybe scalp entries, but swing entries, which means you'll probably have to wait for this market to come all the way down here and see how it will react around this area. Then if this market does give us a reversal pattern at this point, because if it comes all the way down here again, it will have given us a third touch from this bigger time frame, which is the weekly time frame. It could have given us a third touch at this point. Then we'll wait for a reversal pattern, obviously like this one the market gave us down here. So the market was at this resistance zone up here, then it came down to this support zone down here. Then after that, we see the market gave us this double bottom at this point. We had this double bottom at this point, then we see the market breaking above, changing the character. We had a change of character at this point, whereby we see this market broke above this high that we had at this point and give us a new high at this point. So after seeing this market giving us something like this here, which means that maybe now we can take our buy entry from this point and swing it all the way up there, because that's the possible scenario that can happen in this kind of market. And also this kind of trend lines that I'm having, these are from the bigger time frame. So let's look at the immediate structure that the market is giving us down here. So when we come down to the smaller time frames, which is the 4-hour time frame, right now we see we have this trend line inside trend lines. We have these trend lines inside trend lines. This market was still in an uptrend. Even right now, this market is still in an uptrend. But what is happening at this point, this market is giving us this a downward push at this point. So probably what might be happening at this point is this market might be coming all the way to this area, because you see we have a resistance zone at this point. We have a support zone at this point. So which means there's a probability of this market coming all the way to test this zone that we have at this point. And if it does fail to break below this area, and if it breaks below this area, we'll be looking at how it will react around this support zone that we have at this point, because this is another key area that we should not ignore when looking at the NASDAQ. So we should be seeing how it will be reacting around this area down here. Then if it does break below this area down here, then we'll be expecting now to go in bearish in this NASDAQ market. But for now, which means we might be looking for a few sell entries probably before the market continues to give us that bullish momentum. And again, if we look at this market from this, I'm just going to delete this one because we don't need them already. This market has already moved from this area, so I'll just delete this one. I'll just delete this one. I'll just delete this one. And also guys, make sure you join my free Telegram channel community. I normally share gold ideas. Whenever I find the best entries, I normally share them. I normally give them what I'm looking at in the market before maybe taking them. And sometimes I normally share even the entries that I'm taking. So make sure if you're not there already, make sure you go join The links are in my bio, and also make sure to subscribe to my channel so that you never miss out on this information when I'm giving out again. So looking at this market again from the 1 hour time frame, see, this is the 4 hour time frame. This is the kind of structure that we're having from the 4 hour time frame. And again, you know, at this point when you're drawing your trend lines, you may just want to adjust your trend lines to account for these areas that we're having at this point. Like again, another thing that I want you to be looking for when trading maybe the gold market, the NASDAQ, the GBPUSD, EURUSD, also begin with the divergence that the market normally gives you. Because at this point, you see, this market came up and gave us this divergence at this point, and this is normally a reversal pattern. So you see, after giving us this divergence at this point, you see the market pushing down a little bit. So which means there's a possibility of us pushing down a little bit to this zone down here before we continue pushing upwards again. So which means on Monday we might be going in for a few sell entries, maybe short-term sell entries from the NASDAQ market, and try to see if we'll get at least benefit from it. So that's it. That's how I'm looking at it. So I'm just going to delete some of these again, and I'll draw my trend lines from the 1 hour time frame and show you the kind of things that I'm looking at again. So this is my 1 hour time frame at this point. This is my 1 hour time frame, and this is my 1 hour time frame trend line. See, I have this trend line all the way from down here to this area. Then I'm just going to clone it. I'm just going to clone it and have it up there. I'll just have it just up there. Make sure that all those higher highs are accounted for. So looking at this market, it's still on an uptrend, but if we look at it, this market at this point again, it has broken below this. It has broken below this uptrend that we're having from this 1 hour time frame. So which means there's a possibility of this market continue pushing downwards. But at this point, you can't take your entry. At this point, you'll have to wait for a confirmation. And what kind of confirmation do you wait for? You wait for this market probably to break below this resistance, support zone that we have at this point. Because looking at this point, this is a strong support zone that we have at this point that the market has been respecting for quite some time. You see, this is a strong support zone that we have down here. So if this market breaks below this area, then which means that we'll go in for sell entries all the way from down here and try to target our key areas where we have this key area at this point. Then another will be probably this one and this one all the way down here. So those are the key areas probably that we might target if this market does break below this area. But if it doesn't break below this area, then we should expect it at least to break above this area. Then if it breaks above this area, which means we'll go in for more buy entries from this point, then hold it all the way up there. But we might have our take profit at this point. This should be our first take profit at this point. And if you may choose to hold it all the way up, you just make sure you have your stop loss at break even before you continue holding on all the way. And there's a possibility of this market going up because, again, as you can see at this point down here, it has given us this divergence at this point. And normally whenever you see a market giving you a divergence, it normally means that the market is giving you a reversal pattern. So which means after we having this small impulse move at this point, this correction impulse at this point, see, the market gave us this divergence at this point. So which means there's a possibility of this market breaking above this area and continue pushing to the upwards. But you know, we don't react we don't trade the market according to what we think in our minds. We only react according to what the market is giving us, because that's how we find the best entries in the market, just reacting to what the market is giving you and waiting for the market to give you the setups that you're looking for in the market before you decide to take them. So if this market does break above this area on Monday, which means that I will go in for a few buy entries from all the way down here, all the way up there. Then, but if it does break below this area, then we should be going in for our sell entries from this point all the way down there. And I've told you guys that for you to do this, you should always be waiting for a confirmation from maybe the 1 hour time frame. In most cases, I normally wait for confirmations from the 1 hour time frame because that's the most powerful and the most effective for me. So that's the NASDAQ market. So let's go to another pair. Let's look at another pair like the GBPUSD. Let's look at how the GBPUSD has been behaving in the course of this week. So you can see this GBPUSD at this point. So we've been this GBPUSD has been around this area for quite some time. So you see this market has been reacting around this area for quite some time, consolidating around this area. You see we had this kind of consolidation at this point. Then again, remember there's a video again I uploaded whereby I did an analysis and showed you how I was looking at this point, and I explained to you that at this point I was looking at this as an head and shoulder. I was looking at this as a head and shoulder because I was looking at this part at the left shoulder at this point, then the head at this point, then the right shoulder at this point, and exactly probably that's what the market is doing. It's reacting this kind of setup at this point, which means there's a possibility of this market giving us this impulse move again all the way from up here to these areas down here. So which means that the GBPUSD is on a bearish trend right now. So which means that whatever you should be doing in the forex market right now is just looking for sell entries in the GBPUSD and try to capitalize on it. So that's from the weekly time frame, because again from this weekly time frame I just want to delete some of these. Maybe I just hide them. So if you look at this point, this market is giving us this kind of, we have this strong resistance zone at this point, whereby you see this market has failed to break above it from this weekly time frame. You see the market has failed to break above this resistance zone that we have at this point. Then we have in these kind of rejections at this point, and you see that sellers have taken control of the market. And if we go down to the smaller time frame, like the daily time frame, let's go to the daily time frame, and you see the kind of structure that they were forming at this point. So if we go to the smaller time frame, like the daily time frame, you saw this market has already broken below this correction, this uptrend at this point. So if the market has already broken above this uptrend, below this uptrend at this point, then which means that there is a possibility of this market continue pushing all the way down to these key areas that we have at this point, to test these key areas that we have at this point. And again, you can see the way it broke below this, uptrend, it broke with this impulse move all the way from here. We had this impulse move. I don't need this. We had this impulse move all the way from up here. Then after that impulse move, we had a correction at this point. This was probably last week. Then after that, we see this bearish move at this point. So which means there's a possibility of this market continue pushing to the downside, because it has closed below this resistance zone that we had at this point. Then again, we can see that there are some kind of we can see some kind of so this from the daily time frame. We have this Marubuzu candlestick at this point, closing below this support zone that we had at this point, confirming that there is a possibility of ours to continue to push to the downside. So after this market giving us this kind of structure at this point, so probably on Monday when the market opens, we expect that this market might continue pushing to the downside, which means that coming on Monday we'll be looking for sell entries from the GBP USD pair. So that's from the daily time frame. That's how I'm looking at it from the daily time frame. Let's just look from the 4-hour time frame, what's happening. So from the 4-hour time frame, this is what is happening at this point. You see we've been having these consolidations around this area. We've been having these consolidations around this area, but you see the market changed the trend. We broke below this uptrend that we are having at this point. Then we broke it with this impulse move. We had this big impulse move all the way from happy. Then we had a correction. Then we had another impulse move on Friday at this point. So we had another impulse move at this point. So after having this impulse move, so probably what might happen, the market might go up a little bit again and give us a correction probably before it continues pushing to the downside. And if it does go up a little bit again to give us a correction, which means this is the area that we should be looking for, because we have this area at this point. So probably the market might come up a little bit, give us a correction, then continue pushing to the downside in a downturn. So that's how I'm looking at the GBPUSD, because from the previous weeks I've been having a bearish bias, but still the market wasn't ready, because I did take a sell entry at this point, but still the market didn't go my way because it wasn't ready at this point. This still the market was consolidating around this area. So that's how I'm looking at this GBPUSD market. So again, I'm going to go to another pair, which is the and again, if you go to the 1 hour time frame, let's look at the 1 hour time frame, what the market is doing there. This 1 hour time frame is very clear again. So we see we had this impulse move all the way from up there. Then after that impulse move, we had this correction. Then after this correction again, we have this impulse move at this point. So what is happening right now again in the GBPUSD pair? So what is happening at this point is probably we having another correction. The market is giving us a correction before it continue pushing to the downside. So probably we might have it coming all the way to this area up here, because if I use the Fibonacci tool to measure this retracement at this point, there's a possibility of this market coming to this area at this point, because this is probably the 5061 area in the Fibonacci level. So probably it might come all the way to this area. Then after that, we see we'll wait for this market to break below the correction area. So if this market does come up a little bit from down here, if it does come all the way to this area and give us something like this, so we'll expect it to break below that correction area, give us a retest, then we go in for our sell entries all the way from up there. So you should always be keen when this market has reached these key areas that you're looking for, because if you're not keen, the market might leave you just like the way it did on Friday. I was waiting for this buy entry, this sell entry on gold, but I ended up missing it because I wasn't too keen on it. I ended up missing this entry because the market came all the way after giving us that correction. After having a correction all the way from down here, the market came to this area. This was the key area that I was looking for, waiting for this market to be rejecting around this area. So if you're not keen, when the market has already finished giving you this correction area, it normally moves very fast, because that's an impulse move that is about to give you at that point. So yeah, that's how I'm looking at the GBPUSD at the moment. That's how I'm looking at the GBPUSD at the moment. Let me go to the EURUSD real quick and try to see what the EURUSD is doing again. And as you can see already, the EURUSD again is on a downtrend. You see, we've been on a downtrend. We were on a consolidation at this point. This market was on an uptrend at this point. Then we see after that uptrend, we had a consolidation at this point, whereby we see this market reacted around this area quite some time. So I wanted to take a sell at this point. But I didn't go in because at this point, after this market closing below this area, it closed below this area with this 4-hour candlestick. But I wanted to wait at least to see if this market will give me a retest, then go in. Then after giving me a retest, it didn't give me any reason for me to go in, so I didn't take this entry at this point. So it continued pushing to the downside. So you see at this point, after having this market pushing down all the way from up here, it broke below this support zone that we had at this point finally. Then after breaking up below this support zone that we had at this point, you see it pushed down a little bit, then went up again, gave us this correction. And again, if you measure this one using your Fibonacci tool, if we use the Fib tool at this point, this is the 5061 area. Fib tool, this is the 5061 area at that point. So probably if you measure that retracement, so which means you could have used it together with all these other instruments, maybe to know where you will be having your key areas in the market. I've done several videos showing you guys how to use the Fibonacci tool, because it's a very powerful tool when it comes to trading EURUSD, GBPUSD, gold, and other dollar pairs, guys. So at that point, this is how you could have looked at it, because after this market breaking below this area, we had this big impulse move at this point. And I've always been telling you that whenever you see a market giving you an impulse move, there's a possibility of that market will go back again and give you a correction before it continue pushing to whatever direction it was moving to, because the market normally moves in 3 phases: impulse, correction, and impulse again. So that's normally what we have. And sometimes we do have consolidations like these ones, and whenever the market is giving you these kind of consolidations, you don't want to be in the market, because you won't get the kind of moves that you want. But whenever the market has now finished those kind of consolidations, now you should be keen to take your entries from there, take advantage of that and capitalize on it, because that's where the money is And if you look at this point, this market gave us this impulse move at this point, went down a little bit, then went up again, gave us this correction, bouncing at this 5061 area that we had at this point. Then again, if you look keenly at this point, this was a resistance zone that we had at this point after this market breaking below this area. Then you see it pushed all the way down. Then again, what is happening at this point, it gave us a correction again at this point, went up a little bit, gave us a correction, then pushed down a little bit. So right now we are on a strong support zone at this point, so probably we'll be seeing how this market will be reacting around this support zone at this point. So if this market does come up and break above this downtrend that we're having at this point, then we probably should be looking how the market will be reacting around this area, because if it breaks above this area, which means now the next target will be this area over here. Then if it breaks above this area, however, then we know that the market will be targeting another area all the way up there. So that's how I'm looking at the Euro USD right now. And if this market does break below this area, because this is a strong resistance zone that we have at this point, so I mean strong support zone that we have at this point, so if it breaks below that area, then which means that now we'll go in for sell entries, and our target, this will be our first target down here. This will be where we'll be targeting, will be maybe a first target at that point from the daily time frame, then another target at that point, before we see what kind of structures the market will continue giving us again. So that's how I'm looking at the Euro USD. And again, let me look at the DXY. Let's look at the DXY real quick and see what the DXY has been doing. And as you can see, guys, the DXY is still on an uptrend. It has been on an uptrend for a very long time, all the way from 2020. Let me what's happening, sorry about this. So the DXY has been on an uptrend all the way from 2023 December all the way up here. We're giving us this impulse correction, whereby we're having these high highs, high lows, high highs, high low, high high. So what was happening at this point? So last month, I think this was last month, this was on from April, this market was giving us this correction phase at this point before it continued pushing to the upwards. So you can see it broke below, it broke above that correction phase that we are having at this point, and again went up a little bit, came down and gave us this inverse head and shoulder. I think like if I go to the smaller time frame, like the 4-hour time frame, you can see it. This is where we had our right shoulder at this point, then our left shoulder at this point, then our right shoulder at this point. This is where we had our head at this point. So you see this market broke above this resistance zone that we are having at this point, then breaking above this correction zone, which was a downtrend initially from the bigger time frames, from the daily time frame. Then after that, now we see this market is giving us these higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So if you look at this market at this point, it gave us this impulse move at this point. Then after giving us this impulse move, we had this correction, which again is a bullish flag at this point, which is a continuation pattern, showing us that the market will continue pushing up. So if you see this market did break above this area, then after breaking above this area, we did break up above another resistance zone that we had at this point. So which means that still after breaking above this area, this 4-hour candlestick did close above this area. We have that retest at that point, so which means there's the possibility of this market to continue pushing to the upwards, and this should be the next target up here, because this is where we have the next resistance zone at this point, and then all the way up there. So probably this DXY market is still on an uptrend, so which means still on Monday we'll be looking for this market to continue pushing upwards. That means that will be confirming our our sell entries in the other dollar currencies, like probably the gold market, GBPUSD, EURUSD, AUDUSD, all other dollar currencies. So, and again, the last thing that I'm gonna look at is the gold market. I've been doing this a lot. I do it every day. So if you in my Telegram channel community, you already know I normally trade only gold. So I normally give out these kind of structures every day in the market when I see them. So you see at this point, still the gold market is on a downtrend from the bigger time frame perspective. So if you look at it from the bigger time frame perspective, the market is giving us bearish trends, whereby we're having this impulse move, correction to the downside. We have this impulse move to the downside, correction, impulse move, correction. So what we're about to have at this point right now is another impulse move, whereby we see this market will have to go all the way to down here, probably, and it might go even way further below that, because if we break below this area, this will be the neckline. This will be the neckline of this. If we break below this area, this is the neckline of this head and shoulder that we're having at this point from the bigger time frame perspective, because we have this right shoulder, left shoulder at this point, head, right shoulder at this point, then we have this impulse move at this point, then a correction. So if we break below this area, which means this market might give us a push all the way to this area down here, where we have this 48.73 zone down here, because this is a support zone that we have at this point. Then if it breaks below this area again, then we should expect it to go all the way to this neckline that we have at this point, because if we go to the weekly time frame, this is a neckline that we had from this inverse head and shoulder that we had all the way down here. So we had this inverse head and shoulder, whereby we had our left shoulder at this point, our head down here, then our right shoulder at this point, then what is happening at this point. So this point up here is our neckline from this inverse head and shoulder, and you see after the market did break above this area, it didn't give us a retest, so which means there's a possibility of this market coming all the way from up here down here to give us a retest, and probably before it continue pushing to the upwards. So that's how I'm looking at the gold market. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. This is Profit and Edge signing out. Make sure you follow me in all my social media pages, and also make sure you join the Telegram channel community, and also make sure you subscribe to my channel and click that bell and the like button, so that you'll be getting this information whenever I drop it. So thank you for watching, guys. This is Profit and Edge signing out. See you in the next video.